So, I'm not gonna lie, I am so happy that this series is finally over. Killing Eve Series 4. So, Killing Eve Series 4 once again follows the characters of Eve and Villanelle as they play games of cat and mouse with one another as they chase each other throughout the series. And at the same time, though, beneath all of that is there's all this stuff going on with the 12 and who the 12 might be. And that's basically my interpretation. That's basically what I got from the plot of Killing Eve Series 4. Because honestly, this series is so bad. And I was surprised by how bad this final series of Killing Eve was. And how much it just didn't work, man. How boring it was. Honestly, I feel like Villanelle in Killing Eve Series 2, when she's in the church of Konstantin and she goes, "This is so boring." That's what I feel like, because it is just so boring. It really is. And I really struggled with this last series. I really did, because in the end, it's no longer about Villanelle. It's all about the 12 and who the 12 might be. And all that stuff with Carolyn trying to find the 12. And all the stuff with Eve trying to find out the 12 are. But the thing is, though, all that stuff with the 12 is just so boring. It really is. And it's just so exhausting as well. You're watching the series and you're going, okay, there's something about the 12. There's something about the 12 again. There's something about the 12 again. There's something about the 12 again. Can we just stop talking about the 12? Can we just stop constantly talking about the 12 in the series? Because it is just so tedious. It really was. And I don't care about the 12. I really don't. I've never cared about the 12 in this series because it just feels like a reused plotline from something like Spooks. But the thing is, though, they focus on it so much in this last series. Focus on the 12 so much. And they're not to give too much away here in case you haven't seen the last series of Killing Eve yet. But by the way, you're not missing out if you haven't. But yeah, basically, if you haven't seen the last series of Killing Eve yet, you know, not trying to give anything away, but man alive, the payoff when you find out who the 12 are is like, there's nothing there. There's no payoff. You literally sit there and go, that's the 12? Really? I mean, there's not even a scene where you get them revealed. When you find out who the 12, I go, right, what? I don't understand. Why was that so important in the series? I don't understand what the whole point of the 12 was. And it never interested me that. It never interested me, the whole series of the 12, because in the first series, the brilliant thing about the first series of Killing Eve, and by the way, I didn't think the first series like near perfectly like that, which some people did, but at the same time, though, I did still enjoy the first series of the show, hence why I carried on watching it. But the brilliant thing about the first series was it was about Villanelle. It was about Villanelle trying to kill Eve, hence the name of the show, Killing Eve. I know the whole stuff of the 12 was a plotline in the first series, but it was a subplot, and it wasn't really that important. It was kind of a throwaway plot. But then, from like series 2 onwards, and then definitely into series 3, and then definitely into this series, they just made the whole stuff through the 12 the main plotline to the series. And it completely lost me that. And honestly, there's just so many moments in that series where I just couldn't wait for it to end, because you wouldn't stop going on about the 12. I don't care about the 12. I really don't. And at the same time, though, the whole story with Eve in the final series is so boring. And by the way, I'm going to use that phrase a lot in this last series because it was really hard to get through. But yes, the whole of Eve's story in the series is just, it's really exhausting. It's hard to get through because there's nothing there. Eve's whole plotline in this last series is I'm trying to find the 12, and actually, I might be a bit bisexual now. And by the way, that makes absolutely no sense. According to this show, if you become a psychopath, you also become bisexual. Does that really happen? When you become a psychopath, apparently you also become bisexual. Well, there's that with this last series of Killing Eve. But anyway, going back onto Eve's storyline, there's nothing there anymore. That's the thing. There's nothing there with that storyline. You're watching the character, and Sandra Oh tried to do her best to breathe life into that character in this fourth and final series of Killing Eve, but she just, there's nothing there. There's nothing there to really get interested in anymore. And actually, the only character I was really interested in the series, and I mean, I kind of enjoyed Konstantin as well, but at the same time, though, the only character I was really interested in the series was Villanelle, because Jodie Comer plays her so well in the series. Honestly, Jodie Comer is brilliant in the series once again. She's been brilliant in all previous 3 series of Killing Eve, and she's brilliant again here, you know, she's showing so much range recently with the films and TV shows she's been in, you know. She was in The Free Guy, and I was the biggest fan of Free Guy, but I actually think she was the best part of that movie. At the same time, though, she was brilliant in The Last Duel, which I think was a very underrated film, by the way. I really like The Last Duel. And she's also brilliant again here, doing very different performances in all the projects I've seen her in. And, you know, you're watching her in the show, and you kind of feel sympathy for the character. And I think that's something which Jodie Comer's performance does in the show. I don't think it's a writing, because actually, I do actually feel like the writers in the final series of Killing Eve don't know what they want to do with Villanelle. Honestly, I was watching the series going, I don't feel they know what they want to do with Villanelle anymore. They just kind of keep throwing things out in terms of plot, and nothing is really sticking. Honestly, it's like that whole thing, you just keep throwing things at the wall, and, you know, hopefully something will stick. That's what it kind of feels like with Villanelle's storyline in this final series. But nevertheless, I did actually kind of enjoy watching Villanelle in this last series simply because of Jodie Comer's performance. And also, I did still enjoy watching Konstantin because he's such a fun character to watch. And I wasn't the biggest fan of the way they sealed that character's fate, not to give something away there. I just thought it was a bit, you know, inconsequential and a bit anticlimactic. But nevertheless, so I did still enjoy watching that character. And there's a whole plotline with Konstantin in this final series where he's training a new assassin, like he was training Villanelle in the first series of this show. And I actually thought that was a really good plotline because they were trying to do something different than they were doing with Villanelle. And I liked the way that ended. I didn't love the way that plotline ended. I liked the way it ended. It had a good payoff, not a brilliant payoff. But at the same time, though, that was a good part of the series in my opinion. That was a positive. That whole time to do with Pam, this new assassin who's being trained by Konstantin, I thought that worked in the series. And I also thought Villanelle's storyline worked for the most part as well. Not because of the writing, no, but because of Jodie Comer's incredible performance once again in this show. And by the way, I should say, all the performances are great in this show. You know, all the actors and actresses are trying to do their best with the scripts they've got. But the scripts they've got are just so bland and boring and lifeless and just exhausting and just so bad and so hard to get through. Honestly, it's all about the 12. I've never cared about the 12 one bit. I really haven't, but it's all about the 12. Like, who's the 12? Who's behind the 12? Who's behind the 12? I don't care anymore. I just don't care. And there's this whole plotline to do with Carolyn in the series as well. Brilliant played by Fiona Shaw. Honestly, Fiona Shaw does her best trying to play that character and trying to breathe life into that character as well in this last series. I always thought she was brilliant in the series. I always thought she was brilliant in all previous 3 seasons of the show. And she's brilliant again here. She has that presence every time she's on screen. But at the same time, though, I got bored with the character again. Because there's nothing with that character. Like, she's basically trying to find the 12. And they're not going to give it away here. But then you basically find out that, okay, I'm going to give a bit of spoiler away, but then basically you find out that she was a part of the 12. So you're just going to sit and go, huh, I'm not sure if that makes any sense. And I was just kind of sitting there, I think it was like the 6th episode of the series, when you basically find out about the creation of the 12, being like, right, I'm not sure if that makes sense. If Carolyn's there, but she says she doesn't know who the 12 are, but she was a part of the 12, how does that make any sense whatsoever? But anyway, that's just another problem in this amazing final series of Killing Eve. And by the way, that was sarcasm there. This final season is not amazing. In fact, it's actually quite bad. And also on the note of characters in the series, there's a new character who's knocking about with Eve throughout the series, and you start to think that maybe he's up to something. But then actually, it just turns out he's not. It just turns out he's completely unnecessary to the show whatsoever. And you kind of sit there and go, right, what was the point of him? Not really sure. Okay, I get he gave a bit of a prep talk to Eve towards in the series, but why was that so relevant? I don't know if it was. And just things like that, which just aggravated me. Just characters that were unnecessary. Storylines which got boring 2 series ago. And characters who are the main characters of the show, like Eve. The show's called Killing Eve, but Eve is no longer, you know, an interesting character. She's no longer an interesting character. And you're watching her go, Sandra Oh is trying her best to try and breathe some life into that character. I don't care about the character anymore. So, apologies Sandra Oh if she's watching this video. Not that she is whatsoever. Of course she's not watching this video, but yes, I do feel sorry for Sandra Oh because she tries her best with the Eve character in the series, but I lost interest in that character literally after the 2nd episode of the series, which isn't good whatsoever. It really isn't good. And yeah, there's so many other big problems in the last series. There's so many other just huge problems. Like, there's one episode when you find out about the creation of the 12, and it is literally like Kill Bill Volume 2. Basically, in the 2nd Kill Bill film, you see the wedding between the bride and Bill, which is so key to the overall narrative of the Kill Bill films. And they try to replicate that here, but it doesn't work, and it just adds so many inconsistencies to the show as a whole, and it is just, yeah, it ended so badly. And by the way, the finale is awful. I'm not even going to get into the finale, but it's an awful finale. It's one of the worst finales I've ever seen to a TV show. Honestly, the finale of this TV show made the finale of Game of Thrones look almost perfect. And by the way, the finale of Game of Thrones was overcomplicated, overconvoluted, and just downright disappointing. But at least Game of Thrones ended on a finite note. This series does not end on a finite note. This series makes you feel like you just go, what? You literally get to the end of the series and go, what just happened there? And the finale of the show overall was pretty damn shit. I don't usually swear on this channel, but the truth is, it was a shit finale. Honestly, the last few minutes of the show made absolutely no sense whatsoever. And so yeah, those are kind of my feelings on the fourth and final series of Killing Eve. And I must admit, I've never really loved this show. Much like Peaky Blinders, this is a show which is stylistic, so people always want to go, wow, look how brilliant it is. The thing is though, it isn't brilliant. In terms of the plot lines, I've seen them all done before in other TV shows and other films. I've seen it done before in Life on Mars, a far better show in my opinion. I've seen it done in the Spooks TV show, which is far better in my opinion. I've seen it done in Kill Bill Volume 2, which I mentioned previously in this review. And there's so many things like that in this show as a whole. We've just seen the plot lines done time and time and time and time and time before. And it's things like that which just don't work in the show and just make me bored with it instantly. You know, I carried on watching the show because I enjoyed the first series. I mean, I didn't think the first series was as amazing as everyone made it out to be, but I enjoyed that first series of this show. But then the second series, I struggled with, I've got to admit. There was a couple of good episodes in the second series, and the same with the third series. I thought the third series ended on a really bad note, but there was a couple of episodes in the third series of Killing Eve, specifically the episode where you actually see Villanelle's real family. I thought episodes like that were really good in the third series, but then the third series ended on a really sour note. And then, much like Peaky Blinders, again, I got to the end of the last series and went, you know what, I think I'm going to give up on that show. But then when I heard, much like Peaky Blinders, that this series of Killing Eve was going to be the last series of Killing Eve, I was like, okay, I want to see how it ends, so watch the fourth and final series. And man alive, it had such a bad ending. And I've not said before, but I'm going to say that again. The ending to the series was just so disappointing and just so exhausting. And when I got to the end, I literally went, what? That makes no sense whatsoever. But you know what? I don't care anymore because we've just finished Killing Eve, and thank God we have. Honestly, I've always thought the show is overrated, but if you love the first series, if you love all of Killing Eve, that's great. I don't want to take that away from you, but personally for me, I've always thought the show was overrated, and I continue to watch it because I enjoyed the first series. I enjoyed a couple of episodes in series 2 and 3. I think there's one episode in this last series which I didn't mind watching, but overall, it's a pretty naff show. It's a pretty naff show that really should have ended probably after its first series. It should have really carried on, but because the series is popular, they made more series of the show, and ultimately it went out with a pretty bad finale. I mean, I've got to admit, my expectations were low going into the fourth and final series of Killing Eve, and they were met. Overall, the last series of Killing Eve is it's so bad, and by no means is it awful, but at the same time, no, it's not good either, and it ended in such a disappointing way, and at the same time, though, I'm so happy it's ended. And so, all in all, I'm going to say that Killing Eve Series 4, I'm going to say that's a 3.5 out of 10. Honestly, like I said before, if you enjoyed this show, I don't want to take that away from you, because I know this show has such a huge fan base, and that's great. I always love it when some people love a TV show or film more than I do. You know, another example of that is Peaky Blinders, which I've read recently. Peaky Blinders is a show which I never truly loved, but I know a lot of people who did, and I'm really happy about it. I mean, I like Peaky Blinders a lot more than this, but at the same time, though, I never truly loved Peaky Blinders. But the thing is, though, with this show, I'm not entirely sure I kept watching it, I've got to admit, actually. And I did say a bit ago in this review, about, 30 seconds ago, that I found the ending of the show quite disappointing. But in the end, I don't know why I found it disappointing, because, so many people overhyped this show, in my opinion. Again, if you like it, that's great, but I just feel this show is a bit overhyped, a bit overrated. So every time I sit down to watch a new season, I think, oh my god, this might be a brilliant piece of television, but then it never is, in my opinion. never is. And I got to the end of the series and go, oh god, this just cements, in my opinion, on Killing Eve as a whole, the fact that it isn't that good, the fact that it is overrated, the fact that they never really knew what they were doing, the fact they never had a plan from the beginning on the show, and the fact they just keep throwing plotlines at you and hoping they will stick. The things with the 12 never stuck. The whole plotline with the 12 never stuck in the show. Never worked for me. It just got me angry just thinking about it. And also they completely ruined Eve's character in the last series. And even so, Villanelle is fun to watch. She's fun to watch because of Jodie Comer's performance. Not because of the way they wrote that character. Because it feels so much in the final season of the show that they don't know what to do with the Villanelle character. And Konstantin is so good to watch, but he has a pretty naff ending. And there's just so many problems in the show that I haven't got into because I can't be bothered talking about. I can't be bothered talking about the show anymore because, yeah, I've got my point across. It didn't work for me. And if it worked for you, that is fantastic. I am beyond jealous. But honestly, the last series of Killing Eve, just cemented my opinion on it as a whole, is just ultimately quite a bad show in my opinion. Not an awful show, but a bad show. And that is kind of how I feel about Killing Eve as a whole. And so, all in all, I'm going to say that Killing Eve Series 4, I'm going to say that it's a 3.5 out of 10 from me. Anyway guys, what do you think of Killing Eve Series 4? Please do comment down below, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Anyway guys, I should say that I may not be uploading so much over the next couple of weeks because basically my video editor is being quite annoying right now, my computer is being quite annoying, so I'm going to try and get videos out as much as possible, but it is being quite annoying right now, so yeah, bear with me, but more reviews are coming of films like Sonic 2, The Northman, and Operation Mincemeat coming over the next couple of weeks. They just might take a bit longer than I originally intended. Anyway guys, thank you as always for watching, and if you haven't yet, please do click down below and subscribe on this video, and look forward to many more both film and TV reviews come very soon on this channel. See you guys again soon, but bye for now, bye!